This is Sangy Davis. It's time for the lion to Ika. For unity is strength. Let us come together, my brethren and sisters, and forward to the motherland. Enough love. And this is the lion's voice. Ja Rastafari.
I'm Nana Farika. The time has come for the lioness to tell her story from her viewpoint and tell the world who Queen Omega is. This is the lion's voice.
Government is trapping the system.
Well, I mean, I feel like Rastafari is such a mystic levity, you know,
Yes.
and experience. I feel like I born a Rasta. It's just like how if you have children, I'm a mother of 5, you know.
Yes,
The
yes,
children don't change from them born, don't it?
yes. It's true. Yes,
The spirit is there from them born. So
yes,
my spirit was Rastafari from it born, you know. Well, since it's Empressman in Earth Strong month, I would say the characteristics of these great leaders, these great divine energies, are very they can give us a lot, can shine the light before us, you know. And Empress Menen herself was a great revolutionary. She was also on the front line, you know, doing things like health care, you know, within the Italian invasion. So whatever it takes to work and defend and be a part of the change and the revolution, she was that. She was also very entrepreneurial, you know, so that creative energy and being able to make things work from I and I own standpoint. That was her spirit, you know, that was a trait that we need to keep, the entrepreneurial spirit. Also, she was very much in terms of the caring agenda, you know, those who are less fortunate than I and myself, you know, so that was very big example. You know, she also started care homes, you know, care centers for
yes,
youth across the
yes,
country. She was very much also in terms of the church, you know, so that spiritual understanding of the spiritual importance of keeping families grounded. So those traits and just being a hard worker and also just having that Solomonic way of being a woman, you know. And there's not even a recipe for it. You just know it as a woman, you know. They love, you know. I was just here and some women were here eating, you know, because it's Women's Month, and just reminiscing that, you know, look how women have come so far. One time you couldn't even vote as a woman, and you know, all of these enslavements. You know, I think it's because the power of a woman is so intimidating,
yes,
because connection with creation, you know, to born the human race out of your very physical is a very awesome thing, you know.
yeah, man.
It's something that is embraced, you know, and from there's the humility of the woman and willing to work, you know, because it have to be that unity, and so that balance always, which is majesty and Empress men have showed in their very being, is the last word I would like to say. That it's all about families, strong families. Let us elevate them. Let's try and aspire where we have weaknesses in I and I own family, to where we have wounds and past relationships within the family. Try heal them.
Yes, yeah,
Bronkus, whose determined father passed away, and he just was about to reconnect after a difficult, you know. So these are the lessons, life lessons we learn. Don't leave it till tomorrow.
yeah, man.
Patch up the family, patch up the thing, live for the family, and make it be that joins the families together as a joy and inspiration. So, well, I think one thing that's different then compared to now is Herb was a very much a connection to the
Yes,
higher level reasoning, you know.
yes,
And Herb camps was a place where you sit and you hear reasoning, you know.
yes,
And them time there was a deep time of Bible reading and just moving amongst ones, you know, at your age, ones who are a little older, who are really presenting different, you know, overstandings of what
yes,
is really history and where this whole thing is coming from. And it started to make sense. There were a few missing pieces, like I just couldn't really get a reconciliation within the church You know, that was something that for until deeper into adulthood, you know, and then of course I met my kingman Chakula, and you know, we really started gravitating more towards the Orthodox Church because His Majesty is Orthodox, you know, and in Bill Olipa Orthodox Church even gifted the one here in Jamaica. So it was an obvious thing then that would be something to embrace, you know. I had never really, through all the time of 12th tribe influence, Naya Bingi, I never really so-called join one of those. The full respect was there, and you would attend the ceremonies and give thanks for the heretical order, you know. But somehow just never felt like it was something to move within the leadership or the practice. You know, embracing all of it still and giving thanks because, you know, as I will maybe explore further in terms of the whole respect for like 12 tribe and how international they have taken the faith and the movement, you know, and observing that in practice. But I, as an individual, it was really through the Orthodox Church to really get into that deeper sense of even Christianity and where this root lies, you know, and how deep the line of Solomon and how it can be explained. It all started to make a little more sense. Linking up with Chakula, that time we had started a band called Roots Vibe International. So he started as a drummer, eventually became the guitarist, you know. We both are lead vocalists. He writes, I write, you know, and so it kind of became a duo. And so we went out as a king and queen duo, which was unheard of. First of all, it was during that time when dancehall was really taking over, coming like regular joke business, you know, and you know, the whole time something. And, you know, aside from, so where we used to play was mostly at Rastafari celebration because, you know, then now everybody want the real roots rock reggae, you know, so Black Love, Adwa, Ethiopian Christmas, you know, Ethiopian New Year, you know, the visit of His Majesty. You know, so all of those very important dates, calendar dates, became where Chakula. So we became known in the industry as that kind of underground music that was spitting out conscious messaging and very, you know, unapologetic and out there. So, you know, going on. Sometimes we play to pure table and cheer if that is the must, but we're going to play, you know. And eventually, over time, getting to open for shows, getting soon before you know it was on reggae bash. Ira FM used to love give it stage all the while, you know. Reggae Some Fest was really, I would say, the ultimate in where our little Roots Vibe band, you know, get invited to play on Reggae Sunsplash, and that was where we then got seen by a Spanish promoter, Vinilo, who sponsoring some festivals, government-sponsored festivals, you know, and they brought Chakula as a headline show. So a mindset, and I believe just like how you see how TikTok have a orchestrated, systematic, very focused on intentional campaign on gender and how to degenderize, you know, beyond the human race, you know. The same way there's an intentional shift, you know, to lower level frequency, you know, and we know that, and it's like very difficult because musicians need to eat, so they're going to go where, you know, where the food is and what plays, you know, which is vulgarity for the most part, and you know, so everyone we're going to always love the dancehall beat because it is African and we love it, and that must be embraced and glorified. But we can't sit here and glorify dirty lyrics. We can't do it. Me's a mother. I have 7 grandchildren. Me not do that. Me not care who you be. You could have said me old fashioned, me highfalutin, anything you want to call it. Me I stand up for that one day. Well, I would say even more than my academic acclaim, so-called, you know, what I'm really, that my main pride, because I feel like human race, your main purpose is to multiply. And dead and gone, and all you have left is your children to carry on the work, you know. So my great pride is to have youths who are carry forward Rastafari. And there may be a little dropping of the ball here, there, we're moving through Babylon, but all intents and purposes, we have a Rastafari family. Rastafari works, I live Rastafari, liberty. And we not, it's just natural and we are go through. And who we can help along the way, that we are different, you know. So
Yes.
I make a very special effort to call out for the queens and the
Yes.
young queens because we know they have music, great music, just like the kingdom, but sometimes to balance the motherhood and the child rearing with it's
Yes.
very difficult. It's very
Very
difficult,
difficult.
you know. So you have to kind of give an extra little mileage for the queens if you want to give them the stage and the balance that is
Yeah, man.
in song.
Happening is
Yeah,
just
man, we have to keep it positive. You know,
Yes.
I can't go down with the critical and the yeah,
No.
always something for be wrong and whatever. We have to just block out that and move towards the alternative. Stop
Yes.
complaining, stop looking on the negative. Yeah, it's there. We can point it out, yes, we can know it, but we can't waste energy. The time is short. Time
No.
is short.
Time
I
is
feel
short.
very like urgent. Me have an
Yeah, man.
urgent spirit. Give thanks to my energy. Me have an urgent spirit left.
Yeah, man.
Anyone who deal with real things and move forward, you could is that we are defend. So two experiences I would have loved share with them because it's semi-humorous, you know, still at the same time. Because as you say, so Andrews where I was developing that just love and like the liberty of Rastafari even before me start dread, you know. Um, we are draw Ethiopia, you read Ethiopia, African countries, history, Pan-African thing, and then to be called within your professional work to be doing an international, paying me to be in Africa. I was
Yes.
like, okay, all right, this has got to be like this is next level, you know.
Yes.
But it was, I mean, it show you how much stereotype we have about Africa. When I went to touch down in like Tanzania, cold, like a certain place in Tanzania, freezing. I
Yes.
never had that it's just like if you like Africa near the equator, you feel like it everywhere hot, you know.
Yes. Yes.
And this is our darkness, we don't really know the diversity of
Yes.
Africa really.
Yes.
So that was, one of the experiences. But Tanzania was, wow. I mean, I was thrown in a deep end to be in a very high level post because I remember it's UNICEF. UNICEF works with government all over the
Yes.
world. So you're
Yes.
working with governments. You're there. You're being paid to support the government, basically. So I never take it no joke way. And I make sure that because I was feeling so young in it, and Jamaica was such a small prototype that I think there was visions there and thing, but this now had to be applied to big scale.
Yes.
I dealing with like real life problems like malaria for how
Yes.
youth across the country, and UNICEF is looking to you to say how you can do behavior change programs on this to save lives and these things. So one thing I really learned in life is how important partnership is, and
Yes.
get ones who, if any gap that you have personally, you have to engage with ones who can do the work.
Yes.
So they must know that we know and we see it, and
Yeah.
call it out. Because Rastafari for Jamaica is a very important part of its development fiber. So don't come in a contradictory way and now come abuse the very cultural vein that is the spiritual connection of the country and has so much good example. Don't forsake the people. So there's a protection aspect that needs to be carried forward, and the RMO is an umbrella organization. That is why I think it's so important, because 14 mansions and organizations have come together, signed a document about this is what we believe is the mission and what we're going forward with. We must contribute to that.
Of course. Of course.
With all the shortcomings and whatever is needed to straighten up or whatever, be part of it, the straightening up. Be part of the straightening up. That's all I would say.
Well, lion voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion voice, got to show the people them the light. Lion voice.
Jano, I'm so hungry, bro. I haven't eaten all day. Like, my head started to hurt me too. Like, what now could I eat right now?
What about a city samosa? So come now and get your samosa, a fusion of Indian, Jamaican and African culture. City samosas, the best samosas in the city.
Well, great is the Almighty, and greatly to be praised in the city of Haile Selassie I, the mountain of His holiness.
Yeah, from Cape to Cairo, from Timbuktu to the Nile, you know, the whole entire continent.
Beautiful for situation, the joy of the whole earth is Mount Zion, from Accra to Addis Ababa.
Yes, it's a beautiful continent, better control, Mama Africa.
Very beautiful.
From Cape to Cairo, from Timbuktu to the Nile, I smile for Mama.
I hear you call Mama Africa. Been so long since I see Mama. Father of Africa set the law. The lion come and dismantle Babylon flaw. We gonna use solar energy, use sanitation to build the ecology. We utilizing green technology. We hailing Haile Selassie first with.
What do you have to tell the people about Ras Tafari?
Light to the world. The king of kings and the conquering line of the tribe of Judah. And left himself. Where's rightful ruler? Hey yo! Yeah. Hail them high, hail the black king on the 23rd of July. So tell them guy who praise God up in the sky, it's a lie. The Almighty living on your night. From ancient time them a try. Them Romans know them just open them suit and ties. Criminals ain't got no alibi, they stole my people. Then them come without them genocide.
Are you talking about slavery?
Them couldn't kill. The lion will come conquer Judah tribe. Go through tribulation, and I strive, see sufferation, and I still rise. That's why we tell them in America, live Rastafari in every ghetto area. We come to tell them in a Toronto, straight at
Greetings in that divine name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I. Glory and honor in the name of His chosen Queen, Empress Waziri Menem. My name is Kwasi Bansu, aka the Chasmach Kwasi, aka Ras Kwasi, aka the Reading Ras, aka the Pan-African Happy Man, creative industry attorney. I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an actionist, and right now I am the host of Lion Talk. Welcome to Lion Talk and welcome to the Lion Voice Network, where the lionesses are telling their own story. It is Women's History Month and we have a very special guest today. I'm very much looking forward. This has been in the planning for some time. Very busy guest. as many of our guests are. So we feel very honored to get this exclusive reasoning. This is someone that I've been working with. I've known her daughter long time to big up. And, you know, she is so exemplary when it comes on to what we represent on this channel in regard to the Rastafari family and the family values that we all must strive to, as exemplified by His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I. Before we bring her forward, let me just take time and big up the Lion Pride worldwide. If this is your first time here, give thanks. We are now 30,000 plus strong because of the item attention, and this is a proof of concept. You know, I knew when I started this the power of Rastafari, but it's very humbling to see the response globally. And I just want to say that we are, elated that we could become the fastest growing Rastafari platform on the planet. Big up the Lion Pride on Patreon. We have 30 Fire Angels who are now supporting the platform financially, the economic engine, helping us to continue to improve the content and the quality. Big up the Abun Lion Pride. As you can see, that's also growing. Those who are giving a one-time attribution of over $70, big up on yourself. Big up all of the Action Lion Pride, those who like, who comment, who share, who continue to push out the sound, again, making us the fastest growing platform on the planet. Big up the Watch and Peep too. Those who watch and don't do anything, we still give thanks. You're contributing. The peepers who come with the bad mind and the grudgeful and all of them, we big up them too, because Rastafari vibration is positive. So big up. If you see I sipping during the reasoning, this is Ramia King Design, Raslidge, or Rastafari Business, one of our first sponsors. Also big up Wally King's Entertainment, Ras Woolde, CMOS Life, and Graphics and Design, our other sponsor. If you have a Rastafari business and you would like to also become part of the family and grow with us, Rastafari Independent Non-Aligned Media, reach out. We're looking forward. All right. Housekeeping out of the way. My guest today, as I said, is someone who has worked extensively, multiple international agencies, home and abroad. She has been defining her works. She's also a mother. She's also musically inclined. We'll talk about the music part as well. As I said, exemplary when it comes on to Rastafari. I met her daughter and I was so impressed with her daughter. Her daughter you may know as Kalissa. I was so impressed with her demeanor and how she composed herself. And then when I met the mother, it all made sense. Also big up Kes Nandi, who I always, run into from time to time, big up. But this is where the root comes from, and we'll also have to reason with our king man too. But I admire this family, again, for what they represent as a Rastafari family. They've opened their space to the community. Skyline Levels has now become one of the premier places where we have events. We had a showcase there for the Jamaica Music Conference. So from that time to this time, this family has been representing. But now we are going to talk to the matriarch of the family. So help I to welcome Dr. Kerida McDonald. Greetings.
Rastafari greetings, Brother Kwazi. And to the Rastafari family, at home and abroad, in the name of His Imperial Majesty and Queen Empress Menen, on this special month we call Empress Menen month and so-called Women's Month, but that are every day, creation,
Truly, truly. So, as customary here, we ask our guests to step into our iretical time machine and to take us to the moment of your birth. Set the scene for us. We want to know your origin story, because you are one of our great Rastafari matriarchs. Where were you born? What parish? What was life like growing up? Just set the scene.
Well, give thanks for life, first of all. And the life has been a very rewarding life. It feel long so far, but short said way, but born to two very, I would say, out of the box individuals, My mother, the matriarch of the family, she's actually a pediatric doctor who traveled on a banana boat to Jamaica,
Okay.
And that time was very revolutionary, had a different way of viewing medicine. And so she was coming to the tropics, she was very interested in research about malnourished children, because she felt that there was a need for beyond just nutrition to really assist with brain development. And so her research was here in the basically the ghettos of Kingston was where she did her research. And she met my father, A.D. Scott, well-known Jamaican who has established many firsts in Jamaica. First, the National Stadium. He's a man who was a civil engineer.
Okay.
Going forward, he was one of 5 children and the only boy. So in those times, is only the boy get educated, really.
Okay.
And he was the first at McGill University in Canada.
Okay.
Studied civil engineering. And so came back with those skills of, big construction and knowing systems and those things. So he was contracted to build a national airport. He built the national stadium.
Oh, wow.
Commonwealth Games. He's a man who has done much for the first so-called skyscraper, which is in Kingston Hotel, maybe 10 stories high. But and he's a visionary, he was an artist, yes. And so his love for art overcame any other thing, but essentially the man was a Pan-Africanist, he's a man who was very involved and used art as a means of awareness raising, of networking, of connecting with Africa. He built an octagonal shaped international art center. And so much of my youth was through art and with artists, and even introduction to Rastafari actually was through a lot of art being brought to, Olympia International Art Center, which was like a buzzing place in the 70s, where you would have artists come from Ghana, Nigeria, Brazil, Singapore. And it was a cultural place also where drumming and there was a connection with the Edna Manley School of Music and Performing Arts. And so, the place always had some kind of event, and enough Rastafari ones, bringing their art and craft to be sold or to be exhibited. There was pottery. So that was the family I grew up into. And really, it was an uptown family, but a very frugal family, because persons who were humanitarians, basically, and believed in just frugal living and just living to service the community and to take humanity to high heights. Very visionary. My old man worked on an art exhibition for anti-apartheid and wrote music. So that was the kind of influence that I was born into. Very radical.
Yes.
But it was kind of ironic at the said time, because living in Jamaica at that time, Rastafari was, as it continues to be, but in that time it was more contentious, for one to really sight up and move in that direction. So the family, my old man, more probably from a protectionist point of view, although he was the one that, he was a man who wear the pure dashiki, and, even when him going to a cocktail and the who's who and Governor General, he's still the man with the dashiki on and just do him own thing, very political.
Yes.
So, but yeah, that was my childhood, was in a lot of outdoor, like up in the hills, going through learn how to make fire and them things.
Yes, yes. So just to be clear, your parents were not Rastafari.
No, but my father did have a
Pan-Africanist, yes.
Pan-Africanist, love God.
It sounds like my father, because my father's like that to this day. Daishiki would never put on a suit.
Absolutely.
He must put on him African no matter what settings. And he was a Pan-Africanist, but he's not Rastafari. So, I definitely understand where the eye is coming from. So did I get a lot of pushback when you embrace Rastafari?
Yeah, a lot of pushback, and as I said, probably more from fear, of how the society would be a obstacle in terms of pushing forward on development or things that you can contribute in terms of your purpose in life. So I don't wrong him for it, but at the same time, it drove me further into Rastafari, because you move where the family is going to accept you.
Yes, yes.
And, you cook your food, you find it dash way out the window because someone there cook, where, how that go. So, a whole lot of stress, to be honest, a whole lot of stress and premense, and premense. So by 17, when I was leaving high school, anybody who know Akka, pure Akka, I was Akka, Goldilocks, Dundos, Gold Soul,
Okay. What high school did you go to?
Andrews.
Andrews, okay.
I was an Andrews girl, one of those girls who had the chucky boots and the long skirt and the big afro. So by the time of graduation, it was closed curtains. It was just all the way Rastafari music. That was when I really picked up the music.
Yes, and in Jamaica, there is a color consciousness. There's that divide between light skin, dark skin. What made was it your father that made you gravitate to your African identity more and want to express it in the Afro even before you had locks? Saying you had an Afro. So what was it, your father, or what was within you that made you say, I want to gravitate to my African side? Because often children can even go the opposite of what their parents are doing.
Well, I feel like Rastafari is such a mystic levity, and experience. I feel like I born a Rasta. It's just like how if you have children, I'm a mother of 5, the children don't change from them born, don't it?
Yes, it's true.
The spirit is there from them born. So my spirit was Rastafari from it born, and it's just the mystics when I see my life journey where the visit of His Majesty was what? 1963, right?
66.
66.
Yes.
So I would have been 5.
Okay.
And at 5, one of those exhibitions at Olympia International Arts Center was celebrating the visit of His Majesty. And so my father dressed me up as a Rasta girl, like Rasta boy then, flag and the whole outfit, the ribbons and the regalia and the hat with all the fully decked out. And well, that was my brother, and then I was now the Rastafari, put on all a mop and so even that persona, and it tear down the house. You can just imagine, because it was expression of the news in through a childhood experience. But I think that was powerful also, causing the interest to read more and to know more about this man, this person, this being, this divine inspiration for those who are here, who are trying to make sense, of the history and the direction.
Yes, very, very rooted. So the first time that you encounter His Majesty in terms of beyond just the culture of Rastafari in Jamaica, but now looking at the root, because one of the things about the eyes are a very academic mind, I think the listeners will soon find out if they haven't already determined that, analyzing, His Imperial Majesty, what was it about, what was the age that connected in terms of his divinity within your consciousness?
Well, I think one thing that's different then compared to now is herb was a very much a connection to the
Yes.
higher level reasoning, you know.
Yes.
And herb camps was a place where you sit and you hear reasoning, you know.
Yes.
And them time there was a deep time of Bible reading and just moving amongst ones, you know, at your age, ones who are a little older, who are really presenting different, you know, overstandings of what is really history and where this whole thing is coming from. And it started to make sense. There were a few missing pieces, like I just couldn't really get a reconciliation within the church. You know, that was something that for until deeper into adulthood, you know. And then, of course, I met my Kingman, Chakula, and, you know, we really started gravitating more towards the Orthodox Church because His Majesty is Orthodox, you know, and in Bill Oliver Orthodox Church even gifted the one here in Jamaica. So it was an obvious thing then that would be something to embrace, you know. I had never really, through all the time of 12th tribe influence, Naya Bingi, I never really so-called join one of those. The full respect was there, and you would attend the ceremonies and give thanks for the heretical order, you know. But somehow just never felt like it was something to move within the leadership or the practice. You know, embracing all of it still and giving thanks because, you know, as I will maybe explore further in terms of the whole respect for like 12 tribe and how international they have taken the faith and the movement, you know, and observing that in practice. But I, as an individual, it was really through the Orthodox Church to really get into that deeper sense of even Christianity and where this root lies, you know, and how deep the line of Solomon and how it can be explained. It all started to make a little more sense.
Okay.
But, you know, that was, I think, a big revelation.
And one of the things I love about the eye, because I love a good love story, you know. I've been married to my wife we're going on 18 years now. And I feel that in Rastafari, we must highlight the families, you know. And, you know, I met the Eye Kingman, which, you know, we have to interview him as well. But what was that like? How old were you when you first encountered the Kingman, and what was it about him? Was it a love at first sight story, or, you know, how did that go?
So, Errol, well, wow, if I was a rebel, that, you know, he's a reformist now, I would say. Chakula is a reformist. They are them don't know the man. You understand me? Yeah, the man who different, you know, and I would. He is, you know, one of the army on the front line man in those times. Fire. He was really a drummer. You know, he was a Congo drummer and drum till him hand blister.
Okay.
And poetry, you know, that is how I really met him, you know. And then, you know, the tribe within Rastafari. And so his family sent him overseas to England to try and reform him, you know, and he come back, what's around? Deeper Rastafari, you know, and even more revolutionary. So I got it wrong in terms of that avenue or strategy. So when he came back, it was really more into, you know, the works. I find that the works of Rastafari now, it's hard to find the essence of Rastafari within the works. I think the spirituality is there, the culture is there, but, you know, the works of really moving forward as a nation is what I crave. I crave it because I know it's an alternative lifestyle that the world is taken on, and is taking on more and embracing it more than even I sometimes.
It's true.
And, you know, you just feel like we're gazing.
It's
you know,
true. I share that with the Eye, and we talk off, you know, the record, and I share that sentiment, you know, that kind of anticipation and slight frustration with the pace.
Yeah.
And we know it's,
you know, Rastafari is a change in liberty, and we just have to have that patience. Those of us who are in, you know, up in our age and have had that experience, you know, we know that where we're coming from still is a big leap, you know. So
big leap, exactly.
You know, don't ever forget where I is coming from, you know.
And even if we match it to Christianity, you know, it was 400 years almost before the Council of Nicaea, and they even solidified the doctrine, and you know, the institution. So if you look at Rastafari compared to other,
young in it.
you
So we
know,
just have to be more steadfast though. What I would have loved is to know to say, you know, the youths take on a little more of the discipline part and a
yes,
little more of the reading and the discipline part.
yes,
Because you have some who really are seek out and a search and going at them higher meds, you know, to make sure this thing come with substance, because it is such a joy. You know, Rastafari is something you can't even put into words. The
no,
way it's so electric, you know, so electric with the model for living, and His Majesty print out the blueprint, black print, you know. So
yeah, man.
what more is there?
What more is there? So, in terms of your development now, after high school, you graduate from St. Andrews. You said the music started to penetrate. Give us that story, because you're also known as Goldilocks. You have, you know, you establish yourself within a musical setting as well. Talk to us about all that journey.
So music has been a dual part for I, you know, and I feel like it's just about to blossom into another phase. Music had grabbed me in terms of songwriting, getting these feelings, pent up feelings where you can't express it or you need to express it to get through certain situation. And then meeting up with ones who took me to, there was a particular Rastafari, you know, Jadi is a brother Dennis.
Yes.
Farah. Food, Clothes and Shelter was his band. And I think I remember going in Barbican, you know, down a little lane, and him having like a 4-channel mixer in studio, you know, and he's a pianist, you know, like the most phenomenal pianist. Him can fix piano, you know. So anyone in the music industry would have known Jadi as one of the exemplary, very family also, very, you know, very principled and very, you know, for I, it was just like, wow, it was just like a big daddy, you know.
Yes.
Never anything more than just presenting an opportunity to have my music recorded. Wow, to have it recorded, you know, like play guitar and have the, you know, first 4 tunes recording. That was in Barbican. So that was a very deep, that could have never leave, you know, because it was amongst, you know, those who are just, you know, the ghetto singing reggae music, and is, you know, able to create songs and get that put to like have demo tapes within that. So
yes. What year are we talking about now?
That would have been like 80s or early 80s.
Early 80s.
Early 80s, you know, coming through. And then now linking up with Chakula, that time we had started a band called Roots Vibe International. So he started as a drummer, eventually became the guitarist, you know. We both are lead vocalists. He writes, I write, you know, and so it kind of became a duo. And so we went out as a king and queen duo, which was unheard of. First of all, it was during that time when dancehall was really taking over, coming like regular joke business, you know, the whole time something. And you know, aside from, so where we used to play was mostly at Rastafari celebration, because, you know, then now everybody want the real roots rock reggae, you know, Black Love, Adwa, Ethiopian Christmas, you know, Ethiopian New Year, you know, the visit of His Majesty.
Yes.
You know, so all of those very important dates, calendar dates, became where Chakula. So we became known in the industry as that kind of underground music that was spitting out conscious messaging and very, you know, unapologetic and out there. So, you know, going on. Sometimes we play to pure table and cheer if that is the must, but we're going to play, you know. And eventually over time, getting to open for shows, getting soon before you know it was on reggae bash. Ira FM used to love give it stage all the while, you know. Reggae Sumfest was really, I would say, the ultimate in where our little Roots Vibe band, you know, get invited to play on Reggae Sunsplash. And that was where we then got seen by a Spanish promoter, Vinilo, who sponsoring some festivals, government-sponsored festivals, you know. And they brought Chakula as a headline show. We got big stage, huge audiences. Mind you, it was free, but like people, you know, we were raving So, get the taste of what it is to tour in a bus and go from city to city, all are sitting in
Nice.
tear down.
Nice.
With the insignias of lion all over the place, and they really embrace it. So I would say that was, and then now the reality of having 5 youth, so how you put that together.
I'm going to ask, yes, how you
we're both musicians, the youth them are travel with everywhere, and cradle in the back, and who have them food and who are cook on site, so it was very much a juggling, like I know, so I could definitely give a talk about to any female musician in the industry about how to keep the 2 fires burning at the same time.
Okay.
Music and being a parent, because
you have to do a course. We're gonna have to hold you to do a course because that's so needed.
So needed. And even as I will explain more about some of the platforms now being supported at Skyline Levels, I made a very special effort to call out for the queens and the young queens, because we know they have great music, just like the kingdom, but sometimes to balance the motherhood and the child rearing with it's very difficult. It's very difficult. So you have to kind of give an extra little mileage for the queens if you want to give them the stage and the balance that is spoken in song.
And one of the things I want to talk to because I've been saying we need to create an entirely separate Rastafari reggae ecosystem. I don't even think we need to try to integrate into what's going on there. We, and I know you would agree. And we can do it, because we're hired to go on these festivals, but we don't own any part of the supply chain. We don't, it's not our venues, it's not our record labels, it's not our. So what happens is that it ends up watering down the product, and then the people lose interest, after a while, because they want the authentic.
Need the authentic.
They need the authentic, and because we are trying to cater to the audience, because we can't get booked unless we put out a certain product, it ends up being counterproductive. But if we had our own ecosystem, go ahead.
I mean, beyond the ecosystem, which is absolutely true, it's also a mindset, and I believe, just like how you see how TikTok have a orchestrated, systematic, very focused on intentional campaign on gender and how to degenderize, beyond the human race,
Yes.
The same way there's an intentional shift, to lower level frequency, and we know that, and it's like very difficult because musicians need to eat, so they're going to go where the food is and what plays, which is vulgarity for the most part, and so everyone we're going to always love the dancehall beat because it is African, and we love it, and that must be embraced and glorified. But we can't sit here and glorify dirty lyrics. We can't do it. He's a mother. I have 7 grandchildren. I not do that. I not care who you be. You could have said me old fashioned, me highfalutin, anything you want to call it. Me I stand up for that one day.
Yeah.
Matriarch of the earth. We can't be glorifying effort. Simple. Straight up. We have to stand up for certain principle, and through the music is very powerful. We know it already. So why be allowing, excusing, glorifying something that are carried on? It can't work.
No.
So it's an ecosystem, but it's also the mindset. The mindset is about purification and use of this thing for our redemption. So,
yes. And for those people who don't believe in the power of music, why does music being used to advertise products if it has no influence? Obviously it has influence. So, we have to just get rid of those arguments and know that there is word sound is power, and we can't mix up. And I've been having this discussion on this platform with the Rastafari artists, because a lot of them are dabbling in the slack lyrics to get that audience. And, I've been having that reasoning with them, because we cannot compromise the sound, what I mean? But I also know that professionally, there came a time when you pivoted, and started to do some international work, and also lived in Africa for some time. So how did that pivot, or how did that transition come to being?
So I would say that came to being when the reality of having to earn,
Yes.
So the first work I took on was, because my first exposure into really professional work was more in early childhood. I've done a lot
Okay.
of work here in Jamaica on the systems for early childhood, even the basic school system and
Okay.
the legislation around ensuring quality education within schools across the island and daycare centers. I've done a lot of both research and practical work, training. So I've been through all of that. Some of the early childhood commission that stands today, I've been very involved in moving legislation to put those kind of standards into place, for protection, for the development of young minds. And then it was also about recognizing that I couldn't really go further in terms of wanting to influence real change in the system. I went to Canewood, the planning unit of the Ministry of Education, with a first degree in early childhood, and was very disappointed and disillusioned,
Wow.
There was just like not really going on. It was very low level contribution, you don't even feel like go work, cause what? It's just some documents, where's the implementation? It just felt very far-fetched from actually doing work, around that time, as I mentioned, we always had duality, within professional and music.
Yes.
I remember there was studios, because they have the TV studios, the media studios at Canewood, and we, just strike up a little relationship with the guard and thing, and news let us in and do rehearsal. So a lot of my experience at Canewood was actually big time rehearsal for shows, and this was unbeknown to, of course, my employees at the time. But so that phase of my life was powerful. Also, I met Rastafari, also working within the system, seeing if there could be, whatever resources for curriculum, that there could be curriculum. And Marcus Garvey, even Phil Potts, my good brethren, whose son is Wale Wolde.
Yes.
That had big influence to I, had very many educational books for youths, that brought the Afrocentric story, so important, and he had a lot of influence on I at that time,
Okay, big up brother Carl, big up brother Carl.
Yeah, big him up everywhere, and they know said the love is real,
Yes.
For big brother influences on my life within Rastafari, and seeing living examples,
Yes.
So it was really going from there and recognizing that that's not really. I said to myself, there's grant monies around. If I am going to get into this thing on any kind of level of influence, then I am going to go to the top, and worse, there was a lot of stereotyping, so you come in with your qualification, but true, you're a Rasta, you're block a certain sound, very much like pushed to the side and things.
Yes.
And if you don't have the degree to talk in their language and at the tables that are necessary, it's a blockage. So I made sure I applied for a Fulbright scholarship. Kind of given up on it because, put in so many applications for this thing. And was toying about this music thing, should go into it fully because the music started to pick up, and one of my musics that actually did the best in Jamaica was a children's album. And because of my connection with the Ministry of Education, they got to hear it.
Yes.
And that was one thing they did accept. In every primary school, they bought it, and I actually built a little part of my house from it, Save the World was the name of the album, and it's pure music. So, it's about street safety, say no to drugs. So it's all the things that the ministry want and need, and it's in reggae. So that was a kind of victory, to be honest, in my musical in terms of earnings from music. That was a good thing. But yeah, so when diving now more fully into the music, around that time, I got a response to say they accepted the application.
Okay.
And so here am I now, I had put forward 3 universities, and basically they were like, whichever one. And, this was the amount of the fees. And so that's where I went to Harvard University. And that was also intentional because Harvard University is a prestigious, the Ivy League school. And so, but the beauty of the thing is that I went in with a third eye, so
Yes.
every class, every professor, every course. So you pick out it, you know what it is, you don't study the Babylon system already. So you
Yes.
things, it's not like you're just taking in all of what is said, but you get exposed, and you get exposed to a discipline and a methodology for
Yes.
working and analyzing and doing research and applying evidence-based approaches. And it's good. We need more discipline in our work. We need database to make decision. We need
Yeah,
data.
definitely,
So
definitely.
it's not for run from. It's things we need to embrace and use. Because knowledge is power.
Is the I know Tippy I grade?
Yes, I.
He's also a Harvard alumni.
So I never know that.
Yeah, man.
Next time we have to part differently. Yeah, man. I went to the Harvard.
So there is a second person that Rastafari who went through that I know, but you probably predate him, so you're probably the first. You know what I mean? But that is excellent. And then, how were you received on campus as a Jamaican Rastafari at Harvard?
Well, of course, you're like a specimen, so you're called to do every talking engagement that have their quota and their budgets for, African history and whatever.
Yes, yes.
Kind of get spoiled, to be honest, because within it. But it was always a joy because it really allowed you exposure to the world. Harvard University brings people like a magnet from all over the world.
Yeah,
so it was really that even more sometimes than even the formal coursework, was that interaction with great minds, from across the world.
Yes.
And at that time, that was when I really got to understand, like, bigger things and applying for things on a bigger scale.
Yes.
Jamaica was a very small scale as an island. It's very small scale thinking. So that helped kind of graduate thought to big systems, and then coming back. So coming forward now, that is when UNICEF, I had done some research for UNICEF on the Caribbean, some child development.
Give us the acronym of what UNICEF stands for those who are not familiar.
Well, it's the United Nations Children Fund, basically.
Yes.
It's a premier organization for children's development and protection, health protection, welfare across the world.
Yes.
So the mission was very intriguing, very attractive, to I who wanted to just do something meaningful. Children's agenda tend to get a soft spot for you most times.
Yeah, man.
So that is, I swore I was never going to work a 9 to 5, and I didn't believe I could really sustain. But somehow the access to being able to influence things, policies, that had me. But then it was someone from the Caribbean, from Latin America, came and saw the model that was being pursued at UNICEF Jamaica, which is a very integrated way of looking at early childhood. It's not just education.
Yes.
You have to look about the nutrition. You have to look about the welfare, the protection, the cultural aspect. And I think it was the first time that UNICEF was really seeing this instead of divisions by sector. Like over here is the immunization and the health of the child, and over there is nutrition, and you go to and then the education part. But early childhood, you don't really have it's domains of development, and all it needs to be put together. So to plan for it needs to be planned together. So it was these very simple things, and there was a program I was involved with other pioneers on teenage pregnancy, giving young girls who had babies early, a second chance, and doing both parenting education with them as young parents. I could have tried to also bring in the young, fathers.
Yes.
But also, the babies, and doing early childhood stimulation. Some of the work that even my mother from those times was doing with malnourished children.
Yeah.
So very, very organically working in this kind of design, being recognized that UNICEF actually needs to implement this in other countries, So it was probably the turning point in my life, because I was just always happy to be here, apart from the kind of arms house thing in government sometimes. But, exposed and offered international position within UNICEF. So it was, a really big decision to move the family because all the family were young at that, fairly young. Our
Yes.
children, one was, 2, one was 4, kids was like maybe 10.
And just give the names of your children, because all of them have their own ecosystems. They're very well established in their own right. Give the names of all of your children just so that people know.
Well, I would say even more than my academic acclaim, so-called,
Yes.
what I'm really, that my main pride, because I feel like human race, your main purpose is to multiply.
Yes,
And
yes.
soon dead and gone, and all you have left is your children to carry on the work,
Exactly.
So my great pride is to have youths who are carry forward Rastafari. And
Yeah, man.
there may be a little dropping of the ball here, there, we're moving through Babylon, but all intents and purposes, we have a Rastafari family.
Yeah,
What
man.
Rastafari works, I live Rastafari liberty. And it's just natural, and we are go through. And who we can help along the way, and that we are different. So there's Camila, and she's,
Yes,
all those who
yes.
know Camila is a heartical sister who is just all about wellness.
I've met her few times, and always warm and very islandful and upful,
Yeah, and just taking wellness to another level, like setting the bar and showing how Ita Livity can really be brought into our very existence. And it's
Yes.
supporting the farmers and the farm to fork philosophy.
Yes.
Living it, like, oh my gosh, like all of the things that Rastafari want and to see within the family. It may be small, but it can be, powerful within the community in terms of that offering. For
Yes.
persons who are sick, who have cancer, who need a different alternative to eat, And then
Yes.
that whole ecosystem within the farmers and the producers
Yeah,
of
man.
food. So
Crucial.
whether you have Irish mush or you have, organic ice cream or you have whatever within that Rastafari connections of other persons in business and being able to support that in a very tangible way. It's a joy. It's a joy to see. I'm sitting right here on the top of Camila's kitchen, the home of Camila's kitchen.
Yes, yes.
It's
I've been
about-
following online, and I admire her and her health and fitness. You can't forget the wellness, because I think that particularly Rastafari women, a lot of time we're seeing and brethren neglecting their health and wellness. The fitness classes that she does, is so powerful, I think, because we can eat well, but we have to also keep moving. You know what I mean? So crucial. I'm dealing with that with my older parents now as well. Mobility, so we have to incorporate that within the Livity.
has an initiative also that has been done up here, Move on the Mountain, which
Yes.
it integrate that movement early. You have to reach up here by 6.
Okay.
People reach to, she have a car, a town
Yes.
crier that play the music. So you're going on meditation, and then you
Okay.
go up and you do your yoga and your stretching and you do your meditation. And it's not one thing I love about Camila also is not a very self-serving. She always bring in other yoga teachers,
Yes.
know about breath work, and I've studied that, in all
Yes.
places of the world. So it's really about celebrating those who are at that higher level consciousness and bringing them together and providing space, and doing it and integrating the music too, because
Yeah,
it's
man.
also usually, whether it's here or she's done it, she has Camp Camila, which went
Yeah,
all
man.
over the United States. In fact,
Yeah,
when I
man.
was at UNICEF headquarters, I skip over all about decades out of the life, but seeing her come up
We're gonna
and
go forward. I just want the listeners to know who the family that you're moving to Africa is. Yes.
yeah, and just like in this outer view, really just giving that inspiration to other families, because
Yes.
there are other families. It's not maybe plentiful, but those families who are really have gifted to the world children who, just have a sense of humility and purpose, and it's about
Yeah,
trying
man.
to think positive and don't be bad mind, and
Yes.
or
Yes.
embracing along that route. You also have to be careful, because ones take your kindness for weakness,
Weakness,
take
yes.
your your good intention for ignorance, whatever, but for the most part, is a humility and is a love of life and love of people, and you know.
And I would testify that I have not seen even a scrap of hypeness from any of your children. They all have a calm kind of inner Irish quality, you know, when you meet them. And, you know, knowing the I and then knowing the I King Man is very evident why they are like that. Because, you know, I never see them hype on nobody. And I don't feel that when I'm with them. So it's very powerful.
It's not that hard, by the way. It's not that hard, you know?
Yes, yes.
I don't think we need school or training, you know? It's just...
yeah, just humility.
Also to recognize that sometimes opportunity and privilege give you a mindset that maybe, you know, so sometimes it's also the patience.
Yes.
In a environment of scarcity.
Yes.
It feed that ego have to feed, you know, that blowing up of own ego. So, you know, I feel like as we get more abundant and life more abundant, maybe we can put the ego in check. But
yes.
I feel very, very strongly about it because I feel it hold us back, especially man.
Definitely,
woman,
definitely,
man,
definitely.
Especially.
So who is after Camilla now? What was the next child after Camilla?
After Camilla is Kimani. Kimani might be less well known, but a very powerful individual. She's a naturopathic doctor.
Yes, I've worked with her. She was on a panel for ARC during COVID. She came and she did an excellent presentation with Honorable Priest Kailash about, you know, boosting the immune system and those things. So, but please, talk about her because she's also very powerful.
So she's a very determined young girl. She went to UA to go into medicine, and Chakula was so happy. You know, one of them is not music and not culture. One of them is a doctor. You know, so when we get sick, as him say, when we have a sick toe, she can nurse it. You know, but just very happy that she had chosen, you know, the sciences and give to the community in a different way. After her first year, she said, "No, sir, this is not it. This can't be it." Yes. You know, her pharmaceuticals and the approach to medicine very bizarre, you know, and it just turned her off because she came to us a Rastafari, you know, herbs and preventive health, and even, you know, from my mother from those times, you know. Doctor, you know, it's just your eating and your way of life. So coming through that, after a year, she just, you know, and Chakula was so disappointed because she basically dropped out, you know. Mama don't feel it's dropout, and it's just, I'm going to take a different course. This is not it.
Yes.
You know, she just self-found herself. She found grants also to go to the best university, Bastyr University for naturopathic medicine.
Okay.
And so she went through also having youths along the side. She's kind of mostly like me in that her middle name is my name, Verity meaning truth, and she's also a yoga. She's a
yoga, yes.
Studied the thing, you know. So she's very she's very very centered and very connected and very deep, and she's a scientist, you know. So she'll go to the most to make sure that in fact, I have to take this moment, commercial break, to give thanks to the Rita Marley Foundation that really sponsored her. All of the books were sponsored by Rita Marley Foundation. So anytime forward, she goes to the, you know, give her a little gift forward to the church and giving reasonings, and I think she have a long-term vision to return, and to even she's when I was living in Ethiopia, she came and did her research over there, and she lived in Shashamane even before I.
Okay.
Shashamane for 4 months, and she did her first research there, and that was very influential even in her thinking about healthcare systems.
Okay.
You know, so healthcare system in rural Ethiopia was a big influence for her, you know.
Okay.
So that's, you know, she'll go on.
Powerful. And again, this speaks to, these are the fruits, and the I and Chakula are the roots. So this just speaks, you shall know a tree by the fruit. So I just want the people to see in terms of Rastafari family. You know, that's why I opened this by saying the example that the I set is so mighty. So who is after
By the way, you have your dub club in the background, in the foreground.
Yes.
We have to just give thanks to the joy. Brother Gabriel used to live over here,
Okay.
Skyline Levels, and so, even that liberty of music,
Yes.
and to know, say, as a man who don't give up and now have that heartbeat right here in Reggae Mountain,
Yeah,
it's a
man.
joy.
It's a joy because I visited Gabriel before him did set up in place when he used to have to slide down the hill and him had a little place.
fish tank and what
And I
kind of
I tell him that it's amazing to see the growth and the development and
the world map now,
man, really, really inspirational. We're gonna have him on the platform at some point, but big up yourself, Gabriel. For the works. All right, so continue down the line of the children. Who's next in line?
So Kelissa.
Yes.
Kelissa was the first one to take up the music when she was in Tanzania. We also lived. She really. I didn't realize that she had such a voice. And
man.
I really discovered that.
Beautiful voice.
Very powerful voice. So, she took up the musical trad and. Really partnered now with Chronix, so know that is a musical connection made in Zion.
Yes, big up.
So
within
the family. So we give thanks for that union.
Yeah, man, and that's the daughter I met first. I met Kalissa first with Donisha, and I always was impressed with her maturity. Actually, no, I met her before that. I met her with Chronix when Chronix came here in 2014. It was a Wally King's show too. And that was the first time I met her. But she always struck me very mature. She have a quiet, even though she's so young at the time.
Oh, don't let it deceive you. That she?
Yeah.
You can take her on the back of you. She
yeah, we know that.
Yeah. If you want something tight and yeah, man, she's very, cautious about security issues, and just discipline and being aware, being aware of Babylon out for you and just knowing the things that you have to just take care of. Though, I'm a little loose on that front,
Yes.
Zebulon, Libra. She's the one that will really hold the order,
Yeah, man, no, powerful.
She went on a 50 days in Africa tour.
Yeah, man.
Really showed her depth, as an artist who now tried with Denisha, her child's, sister and neighbor.
Yes.
And that was a joy to see Kush as young ones, just really moving into that international connection with Africa, which is what we talk about a lot, but is not done. And so I feel that was very pioneering.
I can't wait for that film to be released. I know it's in the works and it's coming. That film is going to be very powerful and very timely when it's released, of that journey.
Absolutely. Yeah, that journey really is so important. Lessons and messages around, repatriation. What does it mean in this time?
Yes.
In Marcus Garvey time, it was a 7 miles of Black Star liner. And, that is such a gloriful emblem and, like inspiration and just kind of visual, that keep you with that energy. Because you need that too,
Yeah,
But in the practical side, it's all about the connections that we have with real life people.
Yes.
And one who can make an influence. Because one side is through the government and the policies and which African country now have waived visa status so that we don't need no visa to go there.
Yes.
So how can we be reprogramming our mind to think it's not just United States and UK, for our future. We can be developing these ties with real life people. It's a little more expensive, yes, with travel, but that is closing also. And there are governments and there are networks and there are NGOs who want this connection. So I think it's all about the will, so I think that kind of will to go as three youths who are going there to find out, and to use media, which I think is always a very powerful tool, because you're documenting, and that is a very important thing we have to do. I think oral history has served us greatly, but we also the visit. That's why I big up to the program Lion Voice. Because
Yeah,
these
man.
things that are very important for posterity even now.
Yeah, exactly.
The media.
I've had I think at least 3 of my guests who have passed away since starting this platform, and in many cases the interview they did with I is their last testament, you know what I mean, before they pass. So it's so crucial now to capture, because I tell people, a little boy growing up in Zambia not gonna get to sit at the feet of the elders and hear that reasoning, but through technology, YouTube and these things now, I have an audience in Zambia and they write me and tell me give thanks.
That's it. It's about developing real life connections and doing practical works, and it's possible. We live
and even a little boy in Kenya to know that Rastafari go Harvard, and so the concept of Rastafari, just as an artist who smoke ganja, which they try to push in the mainstream, we want to transform that to say that we are the full spectrum. Yes, we are that too, but we have doctors, we have lawyers, we have scientists, we have naturopathic practitioners, we have chefs. It's a whole, gambit of professions and expression.
We need to step up the level and start doing real work.
Yes.
The music is so powerful, will continue to be, but we can't leave it there.
No.
Because it's not like we have musicians over here and then the activists or the workers who are going to do the development work over here. The culturalists have to be the activists, have to be the ones who are doing the action too.
Yeah,
that is, I think we miss a little piece of it when we do go into the music. That's why I have to rate the musician who is farming, who is doing works out there differently. You have to don't sleep if necessary. Forget milk out. The guys are hard work.
Yeah,
So
man. I sacrifice because I'm an artist too, but I sacrifice because I said
can't just
not any attorneys. You know what I mean? We have artists, but we are the Rastafari attorneys. So I went into the law, and then I, being in law now, I say, where is the media that is uniting us and providing that platform? So I jump into the media, but I'm an artist. If you give me a stage right now, me run on it.
And that is a beauty because it go hand in hand, so you can influence many more in different ways.
Exactly. So after Kalissa now, who is next?
So Kez Namdi is the one son.
Yes. Big up Kez Namdi.
In common in most things, but wow. Like in terms of music, gift to the world again.
Yeah, man. I love his style.
Just speak for itself. I don't have to say nothing more.
No.
It's a contribution, an attribution in terms of lyrics, in terms of vibration, and just Kez is a free will, free spirited person. Loving football, love people, very much a humanitarian. Will heart big.
Yes.
I just make him get rich because you don't know, said things can move. Just about put out.
Yeah, man. And Kez, actually, we have to talk because he had reached out to do some work with ARC some time ago. And I'm going to follow up even now, reason with I call that. So we need to follow up with him. But big up yourself, Kez Nandi. And then who is following Kez Nandi now? The Wash Belly.
No, the Wash Belly. Well, Kadia now was definitely a Wash Belly. That came 10 years after Kez. That was out of some divinity. I never planned that one there.
Yes.
She came, but it's an important one because she now linked to all younger generation in a different way.
Yes.
And she brings in that that generation that just grew up in technology.
Yes.
Is able to assist the organizational purpose. So she's now where everyone else is face forward. She is on the back end within the management, within systems, very creative, So she's also just put out her first vision for her own creation. Well, she's had 2. One is Girl Skate Jamaica, which is again just pioneering, gathering all the girls into something productive and something engaging out there in Rockfort, you know.
Mighty.
Very mighty. You know, the Bob Marley Foundation give her a little grant to do a workshop in teaching the girls them how to put on them own wheels onto the thing, so you don't have to wait for no boy to come do it for you. You know, so it's that kind of development focus as well, and register her own company so she can get grants and things and work with an administration on that mission. So that's very good, you know. And then recently, she's such a lover of history. You know, she's going to be one of those that will preserve, you know, the history. And
yes.
And she love reggae music down to, you know, to study it and know all more than me. And, you know, sometimes you have to, you know, get your history right. And so she studied the sound systems and the production of rhythms. And has recently a production called Rhythm Runway, which is basically given the history, because you know, and most young people now go sit down and listen to the history too tough, maybe 2 sentences in a caption, but you know, they have them revere it and it meaningful, you know, putting it with fashion and music. So that was right here the other day, the first debut of studying 3 rhythms, you know, Liquidator, Taxi Rhythm, and Party Time. So those are 3 rhythms, and
big rhythms.
It's a second generation individuals who have come through now, who are holding that legacy of those production studios alive. So she studied that and took documentation of it, and then the whole purpose was to bring that alive, but then to integrate fashion, so that, you know, it's very entertaining and intriguing, and seeing a fashion designer with African designs, you know. And fair thing is not just a one catwalk. You have 3 different places, and each one is for each rhythm. You know, to get the history of it, while and nothing is like, no one is emceeing. It's all a sound experience, you know. So she will integrate like inspirational quotes from Pan-African, you know, and even within the community. So it's like great to see how that cultural experience to all of the individuals, you know, because when you born them, you just have to give thanks.
And as a father, I'm in awe, you know, in terms of how you've been able to keep all of them, you know, in some aspect of the liberty. So let us return now. So these are the 5 youths. How many moved to you with you to Africa when you made that move?
You know, it was all of them except Camila. Camila went to university at that time. She went to the University World College, which was also a scholarship, and you know, very amazing university that have 2 young people from each country in the world. You know, so it's a very elevating experience where you get to learn all of these different cultures and really, you know, lifelong persons with disabilities, and that kind of really embracing life and realities in its fullness. But so the others were with us in Africa, you know. So the baby Kadia grew up in preschool.
Beautiful.
And then Kelisa, you know, as I said, her music flourished over there while she was going to school. Kimani, all of them went to school. Kez, so as they grew older, then the next one, Kimani, went overseas, and she also went into her medical studies. And then Kez and Kadia were there in Ethiopia. That whole like vibration in Africa, wow. You know, I'm saying mind-blowing. I feel like I live all 7 lives in a one.
Wow.
You know?
I can imagine.
Wow. Yes.
So coming from Jamaica's Rastafari, it's always special when you step on the continent. What was what stands out in your mind's eye in terms of that initial experience with the continent, the reality versus the what you had vision in your head?
Come bless up the people then, because you're a big man around here.
Who's that?
Who that?
Yelling Rastafari.
What the I name for you? Tell the people what the I name.
Yeah, I am Flagman Judah from the Marley clan.
Okay, big up
Yeah,
yourself,
gang
Flagman.
like Junior gang Flagman.
If you see
No,
the,
you're the strongest. You're the
so
strongest.
much footage of him, why him hand nearly broke off.
Yeah, no.
Flag.
Yeah, man.
We have to interview the eye, so we are gonna get the eye link, you know.
Yes, sir.
Hook
yes,
him in for
yes.
Yeah,
Don't-
man.
I just come and the fuel come to my fueling station, you know.
Yes.
Fuel, keep it going.
Give thanks for it. But we have to get the eye story because they have one of the most important job in the music industry to keep the banner. You know what I mean? The line of Judah conquering to conquer, you know what I mean? So I really want to talk to the eye about the discipline because the eye is an example of discipline. You know what I mean? Because I watch the eye more time when the ones I perform at the eye, I watch them and I say, look on the eyes, you not drop it. You know what I mean? The energy, yeah, you know what I mean? So definitely we give thanks, you know?
Every time, beloved.
Yeah, man, I reach out, I get the eye link.
Yes, no. Give thanks. See?
Yes, give thanks. And that is another part that the eye is a matriarch to so many, you know, so many pass through the eye. You know, Skyline and Camilla's Kitchen and the eye has been there as an example. And I think these things are not seen, but they need to be highlighted. And I'm so happy that this platform we can start highlighting some of these things for the global family to see. No, there's a light even in the darkness. There's always Rastafari light and families and development and progress that is happening. It's just,
we have to keep it positive. You know, I can't go down with the critical and the always something for be wrong and whatever. We have to just block out that and move towards the alternative. Stop complaining, stop looking on the negative. Yeah, it's there. We can point it out, yes, we can know it. But we can't waste energy. The time is short.
No.
I feel very urgent. Me have an urgent spirit. Give thanks to my energy. Me have an urgent spirit left.
Yeah, man.
Anyone who deal with real things and move forward, is that where I defend.
That is it, because we see, I mean, prophecy time now, you know, for those who are on the prophecy frequency, we see all of the signs, you know what I mean? So it's movement. So talk to us about touching down in Africa. The reality versus, you know, as a little girl, you've been thinking about this place, you've been reading about it. What was the reality like versus, you know, your expectation?
So two experiences I would love to share with Aiden because it's semi-humorous, you know, still at the same time. Because as you said, so Andrew's where I was developing that just love and like the liberty of Rastafari even before me start dread, you know. You know, we are draw Ethiopia, you read Ethiopia, you know, African countries, history, Pan-African thing, and then to be called within your professional work to be doing an international, paying me to be in Africa. I was like, okay, all right, this has got to be like this is next level, you know?
Yes.
But it was, I mean, it show you how much stereotype we have about Africa. When I went to touch down in like Tanzania, cold, you know, like a certain place in Tanzania, freezing.
Yes.
You know, I never had that, you know, it's just like, you feel like Africa near the equator, you feel like it everywhere hot, you know?
Yes.
You know, and this is our darkness, you know, we don't really know the diversity of Africa, really.
Yes.
So that was, you know, one of the experiences, but Tanzania was, you know, wow. I mean, I was thrown in a deep end to be in a very high level post because I remember it's UNICEF, you know, UNICEF works with government all over the world. So you're working with governments, you're there, you're being paid to support the government, basically. You know, so I never take it no joke way, you know, and I make sure that because I was feeling so young in it, and it was Jamaica was such a small prototype that I think there was visions there and things, but this now had to be applied to big scale.
Yes.
I'm dealing with like real life problems like malaria for youth across the country, and UNICEF is looking to you to say how you can do behavior change programs on this to save lives and these things, you know. So one thing I really learned in life is, you know, how important partnership is.
Yes.
And get ones who, if any gap that you have personally, you have to engage with ones who can do the work.
Yes.
So part of your responsibility is to identify these individuals who are going to, as a team, be able to work and execute what it is to be done. And, you know, that is what it taught me. You know, how to identify the local talent also, because if you go in scale, it can be imported. You know, it's got to be grounded in community.
Of
So
course.
that was my real exposure in how to work with communities on a big scale, and to have identify ones who are feeling inspired and empowered, who are going to be basically your voice piece. You know,
Yes.
whatever is the agenda, and listening, and again, database, you know, like listening to what is needed to make a difference. So that was Tanzania for 3-4 years. The family learned Kiswahili, you know, language of a little thing where if you don't practice it, you lose it. But
Yes.
I was pretty fluent in Kiswahili, you know.
Yes.
And a lot of youth's names are, you know, all of the youth names.
Do any of your children remember the Kiswahili? Did they keep it up, or?
You know, even Kelly saw in our songs, you know, like
Yes.
have embraced it, and it is a thing will come back to, you know, because when I revisit, you know, I haven't been there often as much as I would love to.
Yes,
But
yes.
you go forward, you after a few days, you know, the little
Yes.
language centers turn on, and it's quite cool. But it's a beautiful thing to be able to converse in.
Yeah,
you know,
man. And I think it's critical. It's critical for our reintegration to the continent, language
it's
acquisition.
embracing when you try and you're saying words and they feel you too, you know.
Yes.
But to be honest now, when I moved to Ethiopia, I felt like it's like I done learn Kiswahili, you know. What you want me to learn now? Amharic. Amharic hard, you know. So I have to say that I never really conquered the Amharic, you know.
Okay.
That's, you know, some wishes in your next life is that I can be fluent in Amharic too.
Yeah, you have our next 100 years to live physical. Don't count it out, you know.
But it was a joy, you know. So moving now to Ethiopia. So the mystics of moving from now Tanzania, where I was taken from that, you know, call to try and replicate a model that was being done in Jamaica in terms of integrated early childhood development
Yes.
application to Tanzania. What took I to now Ethiopia was really Bob Marley. May I tell you the honest truth? I mean, I tell you a true story.
Okay.
These are, if I ever get the time to write my biography, and
Yes.
it's not about the, you know, self-indulgence. It's just, you know, seeing the mystics in reality is all I
Yes.
can say is what is a life story, you know, and how that unfold, and each individual who have a purpose have that life story too.
Of course.
Tune in, and so that we can almost use that will that carried this life force into that journey. It's something we can tap into, you know.
Yeah, man.
That is those powerful sciences that build the pyramids and
Yeah, man.
things that, you know. So I really believe in those things. Maybe because my father was and my mother was very out there in terms of their thinking.
Yes.
We don't be taught. Because thought can move into action and manifest.
Of course.
Powers. So anyhow, why did Bob Marley carry me to Ethiopia? It was because it was his 6th day at Earth Strong.
Okay.
And the most magnificent, most incredible opportunity came up where UNICEF, somehow a very forward-thinking representative of UNICEF, representative meaning the head of the office, and Ethiopia is the biggest UNICEF office in the world.
Okay.
So somehow I think the Rita Marley and family, the Bob Marley and Rita Marley Foundation went to UNICEF seeking sponsorship, because what they want, they knew to get so many, they wanted, it was dubbed Africa Unite, was the
Yes.
celebration.
And big up Mama Desta, who worked on that project. Yes.
Absolutely. Many ones from Jamaica actually had a hand.
Yes.
It was a very big undertaking,
Yes.
which was really like a cultural mecca in
Yes.
Addis Ababa, in Mescal Square, basically.
man.
That was where it was held, but that was just the finale ending concert.
Yes.
Just think of a week, but before that, a follow-up. So how did this all happen? So this partnership, very unlikely partnership between UNICEF, the World Bank, that was providing a lot of the financing.
Okay.
UNICEF was providing more technical knowledge, and technical supporting persons like myself.
Yes.
You know, so what the aim was at that time from the UNICEF side, it was saying, how can we use this energy of knowing that this would draw current in terms of youth's interest in
Yes.
Bob Marley's 60th. And what they were trying to do was a very important thing, which was to support development of the African Youth Charter, because at that time the African Union was based in UNICEF Ethiopia. It was because there was no other office and it couldn't fund itself to have its secretariat. So the secretariat was in the largest UNICEF organization, which was UNICEF Ethiopia.
Yes.
So there was the African Union, and they were saying to UNICEF Ethiopia, we need to have it a very bottom-up approach of developing the African Youth Charter so it can be real, speak to the felt needs, the express needs of youth from across Africa. How do we get it all to happen? And so the brainchild of this representative was to do it through music. And so it was like a marriage made in Zion, you know, to have support. And so he came to Tanzania because Tanzania UNICEF office was known for youth programming, with media too. Like getting youth radio programs where youth were on community radio stations that were youth led. And so there was already a great models which I was observing at that time about how to integrate TV and radio within development programming for young people.
Yes.
How powerful, right? And so the representative came there for a week to kind of have discussions with all of the program officers about examples and guidance, basically, and how to really maximize this huge opportunity, because it was going to be costly. So how do you get out of that something sustainable, not just an event that goes away and you say you were sponsor for an event, but something that would have longevity, and the African Youth Charter was kind of like the outcome, the deliverable that was supposed to come out of that process. So when I was there, I was just like mouth drop open, like this is really happening in Ethiopia. And so giving enough ideas about, giving people phone number who them can call for get this going, that going. Because know everyone, the music community who can help deliver on some of these things. And so, even from the side of youth programming and things. So in just that engagement, the representative said to the representative in UNICEF Tanzania, you have to go learn her to for a month, because we have this thing doing.
Yes.
So much just like natural, like networks and things, like just learn her for 1 month, like his exchange.
Yes.
And so there was an exchange between the offices, and I was sent. I had to pinch myself like that. I am being sent to live in Ethiopia. I was given a budget, and I was responsible for coordinating from 52 countries, 2 youths from each of the 52 countries.
Wow.
To bring them to Addis Ababa for a week, for having them experience this like unbelievable celebration. And it was very substantive. It wasn't, as I said, just the concert. It was bringing Pan-Africans from all over the world. And there was a 6-month lead up. So there were papers that were written. There were people who were brought to be speakers. There was football matches that were going on. Dr. Dessa, because she had already like an NGO that support children, it was, her NGO as an example was brought as part of this process. So it was very much programming, not just an event around this event. And Africa Unite was the theme. And so, coming out of this, the African Youth Charter that was to be born out of this input from young people that started with the 60th Earth Strong of Bob Marley. So I went there, and it was just, with all of my art and, in my veins, being able now to work with all of the visual artists, community artists, and purchase like literally a mile long canvas where all of these youths would come and just express what comes to them through Bob Marley experience and vision, and what do they want for Africa. So that was a visual part. Then there was poetry, then there was theater, so being able to bring in theater groups to put forward skits and, develop an integrated script that was going to be performed at one of the, congregations. And then you had the OAU is right there, African Unity building. So it was just the whole essence of the place that was, where His Majesty is seeding the unification of all African right there.
Yes.
In that same time where the ones are having the workshops during the day, and then leading up into these. So all of the youths came to reside at the Red Cross, because it was expensive. You couldn't put them up in hotel, so they're all in just this Red Cross building and
Yes.
having experts in media training. So training them how to use cameras so that they would be able to also document the stories, not just at the event, but to carry
Forward, yes.
the cameras so that as they go forward now into their own countries to continue that. And they were like the anchor persons. So out of that came a platform that was called Speak Africa. So this was now my responsibility to continue this platform that was called Speak Africa, which was really an African Union, UNICEF Ethiopia partnership. And so as inputs to different dialogues on continental affairs, they would look to this platform to get what are the youth saying about agriculture? What are the youth saying about knowledge? What are the youth saying about this policy or that policy as a way of getting youth voice? You can't do it very, by numbers, but you can do it sort of getting at a pulse.
Yes,
by doing it through a media platform and through this kind of. So that was a story, the mystics of my introduction to Ethiopia, and then at the end of it, which was just this amazing thing. When I got to Ethiopia, you can imagine I traveled on Ethiopian Airlines.
Yes.
You come off the plane, there's nothing less than you're just in an outer body experience.
Yes.
You just, my knees just drop, you give down, you just prostrate and you just kiss the earth. And it's something you've been only visioning, and here it is before your eyes. And it was just give thanks, and what a blessed place. And I think I never eat for the whole week. It was just that kind of just spiritual awakening, spiritual moment.
Yes.
I remember, in fact, being very sick because I was also drinking tej. It tastes like it's honey. It just tastes like a honey drink, but it's very strong. So I'm in the stomach that will. I remember the opening when I was hearing the chanting and everything. I felt very sick.
Yes.
Very much having to. Throw up. And after throw up now, it was just like emptying and ready again now for the. So my experience was just an overwhelming outer body experience in this of great celebration and all of the Marley brothers came over. Right. Powerful moment.
I remember that DVD that they made a documentary film about it. And that was one of my favorite DVDs at the time, Africa Unite.
Absolutely.
And I don't think people know how powerful that, I don't think we talk about it enough in terms of,
These are over like 500,000 people in one square.
Yes.
This was now at the culminating event,
I think it was the biggest event in Ethiopia since the coronation of His Majesty,
Seeing? So can you just imagine the energy of that?
I can
and what came out of that, and the energy and anything that did die down in terms of a flame rise up back again, and it was like a renaissance time. Books started to come out, films, really like people drink from the cup and went into it again.
And I think that also demonstrated the power of Rastafari if resources are put into a Rastafari presentation, how it was received by the country and our cultural soft power that I don't think we look at enough.
That's when I think my love and our respect for I was mentioning about 12 tribe before. It's not only 12 tribe, but for the majority in Shashamane, it has been the 12 tribe that has really pushed forward. Then you have all of the house them is there,
Yes.
With mansions and everything. You have the Nyabingi house, you have the Shanti. And I have, visited and been a part of that experience there. But, it allowed, even during that time, to to, because I had a budget and I had, I was in the office, that was my work, and so I was able to get bus loads of the Rastafari community to the palace.
Oh,
and
nice.
that was just like, just surreal to be having all of this, the Rastafari community from Shashamane in the palace celebrating, Rastafari and Bob Marley and his Earth Strong. Yeah, I don't think I will. There are many, not many, who will all in one moment. No.
Yeah, powerful.
It's very
powerful. And it shows you because His Majesty put the eye in that position for that time, because what are the chances that when that is happening, a Rastafari woman from Jamaica would be at such a integral position in Tanzania to be able to go to Ethiopia, that have to be a divine intervention, you know what I mean?
Everything is divine. And that is this is because children's programming, there was many different roles in that programming, many different roles. Some was on media, documentation, some was on the organization of the whole reasoning with the Pan-Africanists, like having to edit their papers and, all of that was going on. But I was, and I give thanks and gratitude. Being able to work amongst youth is some of the most gratifying thing because that is going to stay with them for life. That's a life-changing experience, and that is what I'm saying about repatriation. We have ones who will always be touched by a certain situation, are there ready to continue works and be facilitating, so sometimes it don't have to be through the formal routes. Culture because are far away, into communities and into doing work.
Is that Speak Africa platform still in existence?
So, something around development work, which I think is a very important thing, and I've always been wary of it. It can take you place. It can do a lot. It can put you in the right places. It can help with networking that you would never been able to do on your own. But they control the purse string, so they can also, if an agenda changes or a representative changes, things stop. What happened was that the African Union felt like it was too much Ethiopian, Eastern Africa focus, and it needed to serve the entire continent. And so it was felt like it couldn't be based again so much in one place. It needed to in UNICEF Ethiopia, because we never, as UNICEF Ethiopia, you cannot mandate what goes on in other country offices. So it needed to be a self-standing entity.
Okay.
So the African Union liaison office for UNICEF stood then outside of UNICEF Ethiopia because it needed to interrelate with UNICEF offices across the continent.
Okay.
So when that happened, the Speak Africa platform was therefore disconnected from where I was working. So I no longer had that. You could support it, yes, but you never had that influence, having a budget to work with all of these. Like, imagine being able to do quarterly workshops with these same young people and it become too powerful. Maybe they also saw that.
Yes. That's
the other part. Microphone and a camera, like.
Yes.
So that was the story of Speak Africa. But the great thing is that the lived models and the lived experiences of that is what is the takeaway.
Yes.
And in life, I think that's a very important thing too, is that even if something stops, we can't see it as an end. It's like, it's just giving us that wizzy to be able to reapply it in a different way and to pivot and be creative. And
a seed was planted, you planted a seed. And I think that also speaks to the fact that we've never seen the power of Rastafari with capital, pushing it behind it. When I say capital, I mean millions of dollars.
Absolutely.
And that, I think, both of us share that's where we need to be right now.
Absolutely.
In terms of
the budget for my portfolio was 10 million US a year, and working with there's 11 states in Ethiopia, like each with its own flag and its own government. So can you imagine that working through that infrastructure, but having money, and being able to go down and support these trainings, support the local universities. Each of these states have a university. So you can imagine developing partnerships with universities that are going to be training young people. So when I'm talking like scale, and have budgets to do that kind of thing, was awesome, you know, and being able to, you know, it's a very tough environment to work in Ethiopia. You know, the government is very strict. You know, that's in a good way. You know, it was one of the countries that was never colonized, and they still have that attitude. You know, so you really have to work at being able to break through in terms of that trust. So that's why it's important. I stayed in Ethiopia for 2 posts because they changed my position. So I was able to stay for 2 rounds of you know, usually it's just only stay 3 years in a country. I was able to play 2 positions, so 7 years.
Oh wow!
To know ones, and then, you know, start trusting you and start working with you. You know, so yeah, that was definitely a lesson learned and a good experience for even with the Rastafari. You know.
And I give thanks that we have the strength now, because we need ones with experience working with budgets on that scale and being able to manage the money effectively, because not just to have the wagga money, is, you know, how do you manage it effectively, make sure that the money is being directed where it's supposed to go and having the most impact as well. So the eye is invaluable in that you have seen it, you have done it, and you are still grounded in the community, doing work now currently with the RMO family and you know, Sistine Collective and other things that you have been very active. What brought the eye forward to Jamaica? What was the decision that you?
Well, after Ethiopia 7 years, you know, I had to be repositioned, and I was offered a job at UNICEF headquarters. You know. And at first, you know, I mean, I didn't have a choice. So, you know, it's either go home and come out of UNICEF or take on the HQ. I still had youths in school and university. So it's in my interest to withstand a little longer.
Yes.
But New York was definitely like a downer for me. It was like, you know, after that whole climatic, like going to New York, I have to say, was not one of my joys. You know, each sentence. But it was also a huge platform, you know, because things used to be done on a continental level. Now it's global.
Okay.
And being able to work with international organizations on media and communication, working with theater for development, artisans across the world. You know, so it was still a great platform. And, you know, you give thanks for that journey. But it also showed me the underbelly of the UN. Because at the headquarters, it's less about the work on the ground. It's more policy level, and it's more position and who is in this position. So it starts the internal politics. So its head more than when you're doing community work. You know, out a field office there. You know, because even in UNICEF Ethiopia, even though I was based there, a lot of continental work, you know, is regional. You travel. I've been in South Sudan on the front line when you know during the war. I've seen a lot, you know, I've seen a lot. So, but yeah, coming to New York headquarters now, it was all about policy, communication for development. I was a senior advisor there. So again, a big high level post. So it was, why am I forward in Jamaica? I took early retirement. I was like, after a certain number of years, you can balance, you know, in terms of your retirement funding. And how much you're going to sacrifice for not going to when you're near dead. I just decided I'm going to do early retirement. I have enough other works I want to know, and I want to get back to the creative self. Left brain, you know, sometimes you have to balance with it right. So that was very much a personal decision to come forward and work with the family. Basically, I miss, you know, a lot. It was a lot of sacrifice away from family a long time. You know, they passed through, and it was very important for some of the musical works and Camila works, being able to have a base in New York helped to, you know, thing on that ends. But yeah, coming home here has been a joy. I feel also that I have another phase within the reconnections with Africa that are very alive and that are, you know, I just pray for health and longevity to move forward. But like I said, if we drop out tomorrow, I'm good. Them works will continue, you know. Do video and a link in Ghana. A lot of his visions for performances now are in on the continent. So
Okay.
it's up to them now to carry me forward because my money done, retirement money done invest, Skyline Levels and other properties for
Yes, yes.
dispensation get hotter. We don't have our riverlands. Yeah.
Yeah, man. And I love that part that even though the item, are uptown, the item stay rootical, because there is that, you can get comfortable in Jamaica society life. The item could choose that route, but the item stay rooted, me see you with your water boat and, the farm, and still farming and doing the things that are so important in this time, food sovereignty. I see that the item
Rastafari is a liberation. We would tell anyone. Straight up. It's a liberation because we don't have to follow no trend. We don't have to follow no one. I see me have my degree from Harvard, so come chat to me. It's just like I don't have no apology to give to no one, and my heart clean, and I'm just there for putting my piece. And my piece is not bigger than the next piece. It's just my will and my intention. I know say it article, and that will take us a far way.
Yes.
I'm just here to work now with others who really want to put some time and effort into something substantive for the children. We don't have no time and we're wasting time. So a lot to be done. A lot is being done. So always want to give thanks for those who are keeping those flames.
Yes.
We must see the works and point them out and big them up because it give us, it's like a breath, like you drink from a well when you see a next one doing something positive,
Exactly.
It's your family out there on the beach. We say we are hold up the hill, them a hold down the beach front, and just all the ones in the communities who are doing the thing,
Yeah, and that's why I rise up this platform.
Yes,
because we have to highlight the work that's being done. I was tired of looking and I see only controversy and Rastafari. I don't see, because that's not my experience. My experience is knowing the workers in the movement. I know that things are always being done, but I'm not seeing it, reflected in the media. And so that's one of the reasons that I said I had to rise up the Lion Voice.
Because critical part of the revolution.
Yeah, we have to highlight those who are doing great work because people are being inspired. Even by watching this, how many little girls are going to watch this and say, wow, there's no limit.
No higher level education for you to know that, the audio visual is critical, is the influences and it's what takes away our youth from the road we want, but it also can be the road that takes us where we need to go. So a lot of our gap is just not having those alternatives to show enough of it so that we can counteract. It's a spiritual war,
It's a spiritual war.
We have to meet it.
All right. So as we seal up, tell us what the next 5-10 years leads. You said you wanted to get forward into the music, the creative work. What is on the horizon? And then also share with us how we can tap in or how ones can spend some money with the eye, because my philosophy on this platform is that my audience is supposed to spend money with my guests because we got to circulate the Rastafari and Pan-African dollar. And I always say there's no one coming to save us. So if we don't support ourselves first, if we don't love ourselves first, then we are being delusional about liberation, because it starts with, making sure instead of I go to, let me use a foreign example, instead of I go to Walmart, I go check my sister who makes soap and support her business, because that money is going to then circulate and she can go buy something from someone else and we circulate that dollar within the community, you know what I mean? So what does the future hold for the eye, having lived so many different lives, and then let us know how we can also support the eye.
Yeah, give thanks. Those two questions go hand in hand. So one of the life works that, knock wood, that I'm going to get the time and the space to do is, when I was leaving Ethiopia, I left a very big hole feeling that, imagine, I had so much access. I was doing like edutainment programs on television for 2 years, working with people in media. And I don't know how it just never, I was always busy and you have it delivering at a high level, you know, but I just felt like how I never document more, like about the story of Jamaicans in Ethiopia and the story of Shashamane, which is itself is an inspiration that youths need to have before the elders die out, you know, certain storyline and thing which is oral history. We don't have it written down in places. So I just felt like, wow, if you know, in life you try don't have no regrets. And that was, I felt it, I knew it. If I left there and I expressed this to one of my brethren named Zeleman, up to this day, from here, this interview, he will smile. But you'll remember that moment. He was so deeply touched by my feeling of anguish and pain and feeling of selloutness, you know? With all of this to my access, and that you do, and leave, and you don't even document this with all of this access to and editing and thing. And he say, you know what? Don't leave. Do this. I'm going to give you 2 cameras. You can have it for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it is. I'm going to give you a vehicle, because he believed in, you know, he's one of those Ethiopian that believe Jamaican and Ethiopian is blood brothers, you know. It was really a heartical feeling. So he literally, up to this day, he's going to be the sponsor of these programs. But all I did was archive them. But I have some untold stories of just that spirit that brought Rastafari to Ethiopia and Shashamane in particular, and the whole story of His Majesty and land grant, and you know, so it's a very piece. You know, I keep it in my underwear drawer, you know, because I don't want fire nor nothing touch it. You know, it's just very precious stories. You know.
Okay, did you get to interview Bongo Rocky?
Not Bongo Rocky, but Quasi and ex-Quasi, my Carl Bradshaw brother.
Okay.
A journalist.
Okay.
Him lick out of my head. I have to go back in all of them tapes and now and do some.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like amazing people do amazing things, and those works can be seen, but it does want the backstory forward. So that is a work. That's one of the works in my next 5 years I want to do. Work with Chakula and finishing a book called The Legacy of Rastafari. Okay. Important works, because the youth sometimes they don't have the accessible information written from a Rastafari perspective. Books are there, you know, and you get some of the facts and things, but like more than the facts, like the meaning and the, you know, putting it together, and having lived in Africa and lived some of the experience within Ethiopia, we feel we have that attribution to make on that.
Yeah, man.
But it's a thought. These are big pieces of work, right? So that's another one. So this is after my when you the journal of accountability, you know. And the next one is Speak Africa now. We just need Speak Africa, Speak Jamaica, Speak Rastafari. You know, within the youth, we need to do that. That's something that I would have liked to see, however it might manifest. I think so far this Culture Works platform that has been birthed through just a need coming forward and seeing that, you know, if we want reggae, like emerging artists, you know, Skyline Levels is here. You know, I want to go to the studio and do some more works of I own. But at the same time, it's a facility. And, you know, we're trying to attract maybe some funding in the next round. We self-produced, and, you know, there were 30 emerging artists who came to a 4-month process of identifying Rastafari, young people, queens and kings who are producing conscious reggae music.
Oh, wow.
Stage, you know, and documenting it too, so that, you know, and packaging it, you know, it just was on CVM TV and on Best of Jamaica TV. So that's the culmination. So it shows you what can happen. You know,
so we need to do a whole feature on Lion Voice Network about that project, because
if you want to know where money can spend, so you can I tribute to I story, the story of Shashamane, you know, the editing and the pushing forward on the legacy of Rastafari, but also a continuing platform of these artists. Because what we want to show is not just the musical talent, which is so important, and help to give forward to just bring in other mentors in the space. So whether you're training an apprentice engineer, or you're training a stage manager, or giving a young host a chance and giving feed forward on how they did on the night, you know, and just having a a conversation about it and how it felt. These are organic trainings, you know.
Yeah, man.
And even the art is just exposure and being able to be seen by many more than they would have before, you know, and how ones in the community can see even these young ones on TV that, you know, them really do things and not just waste them time.
Exactly.
So Culture Works, I think, is a platform that needs to live on. You know, we've taken, that was season 1, because live music costs money, you know.
Of
So
course.
it's funding. We're trying to see if we can get some kind of funding to continue that work. So that is another piece of work that needs to continue from Skyline Levels.
Okay.
It have a facility, good quality sound, state-of-the-art equipment, and we just feel like that's a part of the purpose of what has emerged from here. And where possible to even record some of these artists on the Skyline Levels label.
Yeah, man.
And last but not least, you know, Chakula and I sacrifice a lot on the journey within our own creative expression. We have songs on repeat, you know, that haven't emerged, you know, and so we feel that's going to be a joy to put it out to. And whichever way it need to filtrate out in the universe, it will always be there. The children and believe in the catalog, so and them all achieve the song them already. So we better hurry go on. So it came from this original recording, you know. So yeah, that's a lot of work to do in 5 years. Also, I definitely, you know, believe in the RMO. I never joined an Rastafari organization, as I mentioned. I am a member of the Orthodox Church. My name is Wolete Selassie. So I have that commitment to the church and the cathedral and keeping that spiritual history and connection alive. But, you know, within Rastafari, we need to do more like manifesting works and some great visions and things like the intellectual property agenda. So important, while, you know, things Jamaica are like going forward to try and utilize and monetize Rastafari. Whereas Rastafari, if we know, mine shop is our next, like the ganja industry, you know, before the eyes taken away. So, you know, if there are ones in that, you know, we need to be strengthening that works, you know, and just advocacy work to ensure that things that need protection, you can't just come victimize the youth them and we stand by. You know, it's not like we want to get in a them system because we are here, but we're still here. So meanwhile, youth are going to school and being abused. Meanwhile, youth are going down the road and being abused, and ganja farmers are being abused. We can't stand by. So we have to stand up. There has to be ones who are dealing with that front of just not letting it. Some things, it will be hard to change. We know that already, but them for no. They must know that we know and we see it, you know, and call it out. Because Rastafari for Jamaica is a very important part of its development fiber. So don't come in a contradictory way and now come abuse the very cultural vein that is the spiritual connection of the country and has so much good example, you know. Don't forsake the people. So there's a protection aspect that needs to be carried forward, and the RMO is an umbrella organization. That is why I think it's so important, because 14 mansions and organizations have come together, signed a document about this is what believe is the mission and what we're going forward with. We must contribute to that.
Of course.
With all the shortcomings and whatever is needed to straighten up or whatever, be part of it, the straightening up. Be part of the straightening up. That's all I would say.
Yeah, man. And we also have the Nyabingi House as observer status. You know, we've established strong communication with the 12 tribe of Israel. So, you know, I have a lot of hope moving forward, and the I has come on board in terms of helping out the PR and also working with the, you know, Rastafari Sisters PR entity as well. So there's so much work happening, and I really just want to commend the I again for lending your expertise. And also, I know the I has been very adamant in terms of advocating for a Rastafari Act and that there be legislation. So regardless of which party is in power, that there are protections, you know, that we are presenting a bill of rights for Rastafari that can be adopted as a formal law of the land.
how great if a decade from now our children can say, yeah, then put that in place. So we know that now probably them can do our next Coral Gardens massacre.
Yes, yes.
But the war is in different levels right now, and it's going on, and every day it's a different undermining or, reason why we can't move forward. So, I feel like, the act is something that we should put in place. So certain things are just legislated, and we don't have to go back to a Supreme Court every time a youth gets barred from school because of dreadlocks, or them don't want to deal with the vaccination. Or these things need to be, these are outlived, these are backward, so we can't keep backwardness in the situation. So for all who is listening, yeah, that is what we need. It's like we have the agenda, we know what are the asks and the demands, and we can't every time go on the street and waste our time within calling these things out. It have to just be that certain things are just legislative, and now we can move with a more focus on our development work, farming, products, whatever it may be.
Yes.
Things that are going to generate income for Rastafari families. So at the end of the day, it's all about families, and we give thanks to the families of whole, whether it's here in the diaspora, because we must operate as a international organ. So give thanks to all those everywhere that inspire I and I family for the works, and for His Majesty Inspiration and Empress Menen. So give thanks for the platform.
Give thanks for the eye. Final word sound to all of the global listeners, and since it's Women's Month, for the younger women who may be watching this, just some final word sound to seal us.
Well, since it's Empress Menen Earthstrong Month, I would say the characteristics of these great leaders, these great divine energies, are very, they can give us a lot, can shine the light before us, and Empress Menen herself was a great revolutionary. She was also on the front line, doing things like health care, within the Italian invasion. So whatever it takes to work and defend and be a part of the change and the revolution, she was that. She was also very entrepreneurial, so that creative energy and being able to make things work from I own standpoint. That was her spirit. That was a trait that we need to keep, the entrepreneurial spirit. Also, she was very much in terms of the caring agenda, those who are less fortunate than I and myself, so that was very big example. She also started care homes, care centers for youth across the country. She was very much also in terms of the church, so that spiritual understanding of the spiritual importance of keeping families grounded. So those traits, and just being a hard worker, and also just having that Solomonic way of being a woman, and there's not even a recipe for it. You just know it as a woman, they love, I was just here, and some women were here eating, because it's Women's Month, and just reminiscing that, look how women have come so far. One time you couldn't even vote as a woman, and all of these enslavements, I think it's because the power of a woman is so intimidating. Because connection with creation, to born the human race out of your very physical is a very awesome thing, it's something that is embraced, and from there's the humility of the woman and willing to work, because it have to be that unity, and so that balance always, which is Majesty and Empress Menen have showed in their very being, is the last word I would like to say. That it's all about families, strong families. Let us elevate them. Let's try and aspire where we have weaknesses in I own family, to where we have wounds and past relationships within the family. Try heal them. Runkus, who's determined father, passed away, and he just was about to reconnect after a difficult, so these are the lessons, life lessons we learn. Don't leave it till tomorrow.
Yeah, man.
Patch up the family, patch up the thing, live for the family, and make it be that joins the families together as a joy and inspiration. So,
Give thanks, give thanks. So there you have it. A doctor, a mother, a sister. Mama Kerida, I just want to say give thanks for the eye, inspiration, your light, your work effort, your children, your whole livity is a great inspiration to I personally, and I'm sure to many out there who will watch this out of you and who are familiar with the I Youth's works and maybe didn't know who their parent was. I know that this will be an inspiration, and it shows that when you keep the family together, you know, the power that you can really generate. So we're going to continue to bring these types of testimonies to the global family. We are on the move. We are preparing ourselves for the greatest period, I think, in human history, the great return, the redemption. Time is now. And we are here as Rastafari, independent, non-aligned media, to make sure that the lions and the lionesses tell our own story. Why? Because the time has come for the lions and lionesses to tell our own story. And this is the lion voice. Rastafari.
Heart alone.
Listen.
Well, great is the Almighty, and greatly to be praised in the city of Haile Selassie I, the mountain of His holiness.
Yeah, from Cape to Cairo, from Timbuktu to the Nile, you know, the whole entire continent.
Beautiful for situation, the joy of the whole earth is Mount Zion, from Accra to Addis Ababa.
Yes, it's beautiful continent, better control, mama.
Very beautiful.
From Cape to Cairo, from Timbuktu to the Nile, I smile. From
I hear you call Mama Africa. Been so long since I seen Mama. Father of Africa set the law. The lion come and dismantle Babylon flaw. We gonna use solar energy, use sanitation to build the ecology. We utilizing green technology. We hailing Haile Selassie first without apology. And then we build the youth them economy. We dismantle Babylon monopoly. We teach the youth them how to live properly. Tell them make sure them got the title fit them property.
yes, this beautiful continent, better control, mama. Cape to Cairo, from Timbuktu to the Nile, I smile for
I love you, mama, your heart never harden. I wanna turn all your slums into garden. I wanna stop all of your youths from starving. I wanna stop all of your tribes from warring. So much to say, so many feelings. We both been hurt, we both need healing. Since the League of Nations you've been appealing. You stand up against them backdoor dealing. I hear you call Mama Africa. Been so long since I seen Mama. Father of Africa set the law. The lion come and dismantle Babylon flaw. Then I hear you call Mama Africa. Been so long in America. Father of Africa set the law. The lion come and dismantle Babylon flaw.
So be still, all enemies of Jah. Know that He's the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, the Lion Conqueror. And it was said of Ethiopia, the highest himself shall establish her. His Majesty was born there.
And I know that I love you so. There's no place that I'd rather go. Tired of walking through slush and snow. Repatriation, that's a must I know.